The sun is going on lockdown.
Yeah.
This is the most important story. We do have one where we're talking about UFOs or whatever, but this lockdown is really interesting because it kind of goes into, the global warming.
Coronavirus has reached the sun.
It's the sun.
Oh.
The sun is going into...
The Democrats have told the sun to stay at home.
Yep.
Don't go out.
Going into lockdown.
We got to keep you in lockdown, sun.
Well, they can't have the sunlight disinfecting the coronavirus.
Oh, that's true. That's fair.
Okay, we're joking. Don't ban us,
Just
YouTube. We're not
joking.
conspiracy theorists.
Oh my gosh.
Let's read.
That was definitely a joke, YouTube.
But this is interesting. It's called something a solar minimum. We did briefly mention it before on a past episode, but we're gonna do it. We're gonna jump into this story. Let's see what's going on.
Let's do this.
The Daily Mail reports now the sun has gone into lockdown. Reduced activity on solar surface has sparked fears of a doomsday mini ice age. So is it time we saw the light? Asks Jane Fryer. Big news this week about the giant burning, boiling, spinning thermonuclear reactor, which lies 93 million miles away from Earth, but is our primary source of life-giving heat and light. That was the stupidest way to say we have news about the sun.
What on earth was that?
I don't want to be mean, but come on, man.
That writing is terrible.
All right, I'm going to just skip over this weird waste of time.
Yep.
That's really what it is.
Just go down.
Holy moly.
It turns out the sun has gone into lockdown, recession, or more accurately, a deep period of solar minimum, which means that the activity on the sun's surface has fallen dramatically, and its magnetic field has become weaker, letting into the environment more of the sort of cosmic rays that cause dramatic lightning storms and interfere with astronauts and space hardware. They can also lead to the explosion of sprites, clusters of orange and red lights that shoot out of the top of thunderstorms like 60-mile-high palm trees in the sky. That is awesome.
That is so cool.
Oh, yes. And on top of all of that, theoretically, it could cause the temperature on Earth to drop to potentially catastrophic new lows. While the Met Office and members of the Royal Astronomical Society are urging us not to panic and reminding us that this is just nature, nothing to worry about, and the sort of thing that happens every 11 years or so as the sun passes through its activity cycle, some doom and gloomers are much less optimistic. I'm going to just interject a bit, and nature is scary, and nature is often reason to panic.
Yep.
Like, if a volcano explodes and you're nearby, well, you don't want to panic, but you should be alert and worried and running.
Yeah.
So I think it's funny that, like, it's just nature, calm down.
Yeah, someone mentioned Tennessee as a potential spot. All I can think is, don't they have tornadoes every year that rip through Tennessee in the center?
Well, we can't run from the sun, so if the sun stops...
That's a good point.
Yeah, it's just, I wouldn't panic. You know what? I just kick back, put my feet up, and be like, well, what are you going to do?
I know you do. You'd drive that van down by the river, wouldn't you?
No. If the world was ending and the sun was going out, I just sit back and be like, meh.
What do you
Well, I'll probably go skate the ramp.
That would work.
Yeah.
Like,
That'll work.
let's skate into infinity.
I probably would do nothing different. I'd be like, well, here we go. What if, what would you do if, say, Australia right now got hit by, a massive, just, asteroid or meteor or whatever?
Okay.
And then we were told...
Hold on. Why Australia?
Because we're far away from it.
Okay, good.
And then
Good,
you got
good.
told,
Good reason.
on the news, they were like, the impact wave will reach, the east coast of the United States in 1 hour. And so we're sitting here, you can see the glow in the sky, and we're like, in 1 hour, this devastating wave will just, we're dead.
Yep.
You have 1 hour.
Wow.
Wouldn't that be crazy?
Oh, man.
That would be nuts.
What would you do?
I would probably find Nish.
Yep.
And spend that hour with her.
Yeah, of course.
Find your loved ones.
Absolutely.
That's what I'd do.
I'd give everybody a hug.
And call our family.
Meh. Hugs.
Yeah, the way I always see it is when you're dead, you're not going to care.
Right.
So, all right, but let's read it. Check out this photograph. I love this. What is this?
What on
An
earth?
extreme solar minimum is thought to have contributed to the so-called Little Ice Age in Europe in the 17th and 18th centuries. When the temperatures fell so low, the River Thames froze over.
Yeah, and it snowed in July.
What is this picture?
That is not what happened in the 17th and 18th century.
For those that are just listening, it is Big Ben covered in ice, frozen
Drifts of
up
snow.
to the clock, and there's some kind of tanker, boat ship just in the snow.
Yeah, somehow up halfway through the distance of Big Ben too. It's
because the water level rose, I guess,
Heck.
and so they're...
It's beautiful, but that has never happened.
All right, but check it out. There's some cool stuff. She writes, perhaps they're haunted by the extreme solar minimum, thought to have contributed to the so-called Little Ice Age in Europe in the 17th and 18th centuries. When the temperature fell so low, the River Thames froze over, crops failed, lightning storms lit up the skies, and in 1816, the weather was so crazy that it snowed in July.
Yep.
As we all know, the sun, which is 4.5 billion years old, and more than 1 million times bigger than the Earth, is not only a source of cheer when it finally pops out from behind the clouds, it also keeps us alive. which means that the teeniest change in its activity levels can have extraordinary consequences, triggering lightning storms, the appearance or disappearance of the northern lights, and those amazing sprites. But the sun's activity is changing constantly as it passes through its regular cycle, from solar maximum, hottest and most active, to solar minimum, quiet and cooler. Since the 17th century, scientists have been measuring the depth of a solar minimum by counting the sunspots, areas of magnetic activity on the solar surface, which show up as relatively dark spots, and solar flares, large explosions that hurl charged particles into space. The general rule is the fewer the sunspots, the more severe the minimum, and the higher the chances of lightning storms, sprites, and disruption of Earth. So far this year, the sun has been blank, with no sunspots, 76% of the time. A figure passed just once since the 50s last year, when it was 77% blank. So could we be heading for a grand solar minimum based a sustained period, decades, even centuries, or particularly weak solar cycle? Are we now, on top of everything else, facing another mini ice age? So what do you think?
Interesting. So we could actually be all this climate change, that we've been
saving our lives.
Yeah, we've been messing it up, preparing for the temperature to be lower, but we've been raising it, so it's actually just going to be normal. It's just going to be normal for a while.
They knew it was coming. They planned it. They were like, man, look at all this global warming. I know what we need to do. We need to burn off a bunch of CO2, warm up the planet. Yep. That way we don't have a mini ice age.
Yeah, there you go.
It reminds me of Futurama. Of course. Why is it always this show? I don't know.
Because it's a genius show.
Because it's sci-fi.
True.
And because we talk a lot about, kind of sci-fi stuff.
Yeah.
But they, to combat global warming, they just went to a comet and took a big piece of ice and dropped it into the Earth.
Okay.
Because it cooled it down.
Nice.
And then they need a bigger and bigger ice block every single time they do it. And so then the final solution is all the robots aim their exhaust, their butts, to the sky and then exhaust, and it pushes the Earth a few meters away, creating an extra week or something, but also cooling the Earth down.
That's
that's how they solve the problem.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So what's going to happen, right? They say 200 years ago we were deep in the midst of the Dalton Minimum, which occurred between 1790 and 1830 and was marked by periods of brutal cold. Temperatures fell by 2 degrees Celsius over 20 years, which may not sound much, but had the effect of devastating the world's food production and causing widespread famine. So we're about to add this on top of this pandemic.
That's interesting, though, because aren't we at the point of about 1 to 2 degrees higher than average?
I have no idea.
So what I just said as a joke could potentially actually be the truth.
But we didn't do it on purpose.
No, I know that.
Basically,
we did it on accident. Or not on accident. We are in the Industrial Revolution. It just kind of happened, as we developed.
What you're saying is that humans collectively slipped on a banana peel, but pulled off a perfect backflip
and landed on like a throne.
Indeed.
Right.
Like, I meant to do that.
Yeah, I sure
Yeah,
did.
but what happens after the 10 years?
Yeah. Then it's going to spike back up to...
And then it's going to get really hot.
Really hot temperatures, yeah.
Yeah. Unless the solar activity...
continues.
Well, we're not at maximum, so...
in 40 years of a solar
minimum. They also
minimum.
they said the misery was exacerbated by powerful volcanic eruptions.
Wow.
The second largest volcanic eruption in 2,000 years happened on Mount Tambora in Indonesia, killing more than 71,000 people.
Wow.
And plunging the temperature still lower. Giant ash clouds blocked the solar rays.
Yeah, it was a hot mess.
Wow. How come nothing fun like that happens?
Whoa.
Does that really sound fun?
Tim, don't you jinx us, man.
What the heck?
Fun is the wrong word.
Thank you.
I'm going to see all the outrage, like people died.
Please
no,
change your...
What I mean is
tone.
not fun, but like consequential.
Or like a pandemic.
Right, okay.
Yeah, kind of, but this is not even nearly as
this
bad as...
This pandemic is like it's just another... I don't want to call it the flu, but it's like a new thing that is just basically like a flu going through the human race.
No, it is worse. Like
I know it is
weird
worse.
symptoms,
sure.
nerve damage.
Yeah,
but that still is what's happening, though. It's like,
I'm just saying, like,
not,
the Spanish flu killed millions.
Right.
COVID's probably not going to get that bad.
No, I don't think
and so. We're taking care of it, but it's really just people hanging around, hanging out at their homes. A lot of people have lost their jobs, and they're getting really, really angry about it.
Yeah.
So the economic crisis is actually much worse. Or I should say has the potential to be substantially worse than COVID is. But I just mean like alien invasion, Great War, massive volcanic eruptions spewing ash into the sky for hundreds of miles or thousands of miles. Like
that would mess us up.
Yeah, like nothing seems to happen. It's like we're in this boring period. It's a golden age. It really is.
Dude,
Because-
you're gonna wake up tomorrow. Yellowstone's gonna be blowing up, and we're gonna be like, oh,
There will be no sunlight.
Time to start.
no more sun.
So we're gonna
in
dig
all of America.
We're gonna dig straight down in the basement, and we're gonna grow mushrooms in the dark and
That's
be
right.
you
Glow
know,
in the dark
mole
mushrooms.
mole people.
I
mole
have a
people.
plan. Yep.
Mole people, mushrooms in the dark.
Or we could just keep
That's the
digging
plan.
and see if the lizard people will take us in.
That'd be good too.
if we get deep enough.
Or we'll go to
Yeah.
Colorado. Where's it at? What's that
Denver
airport?
Airport.
Yeah,
oh, the Denver airport. Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
We should do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So someone said we can't wait to see what's after the murder hornets.
Yeah.
You know what
Right.
though, man? Like they always tell us these crazy things are happening, and they're always just it's not that bad.
No, it's not.
Like I
Silly.
remember growing up when I was little, and they were like, killer bees were coming.
Yeah.
I never saw anything.
I never. Actually, I did see killer bees once.
But bees aren't that
Ooh.
bad.
It was
Like,
kind of scary looking.
really.
Yeah.
What was it?
It was like a dark cloud of bees.
Oh,
Oh.
my gosh.
Yeah.
Are they just regular bees?
But
or
I
what?
saw them in the sky, and they were kind of like passing me, but I heard them, and it was right around that time they were like, "Watch out for killer bees," and I was like, "Oh wow!"
In Chicago?
That's
Or where were
them.
you?
No, I was in where was I? St. Louis, maybe.
Africanized bees.
I never saw anything like
I
that.
don't remember.
Yeah.
Just your regular old wasps and hornets.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks yellow jackets are bees too. I'm offended by that.
That's not
Yeah.
true.
Those
Yeah,
things
bees are
chase
cool,
you down.
man. Bees
yeah,
are
bees
cool.
chill.
Bees are
Like
super
when I
chill.
lived in LA,
Respect the bees.
you could
Yeah.
walk past any bush,
Mhm.
and there's just swarms of bees.
Yeah.
You
They're so
walk right
cool.
past it, and
Yeah.
they don't bother you at all.
They don't care.
bumbling
Now,
around.
yellow jackets.
Ooh.
They're
wasps.
like, "Whoa, you offend me with
No,
your
no, no.
attitude."
They're like, I'm looking for something to eat. Ooh, here's a person. I will chase after them.
I'm going to chase
and I'm
after
gonna
this
sting
thing.
them. You want to hear a crazy story, man?
Yes.
When
Absolutely.
I was in grade school, we were in church,
Okay.
and I was sitting in a pew, and in front of me there was this girl,
Mm-hmm.
and she had like her hair in a bun or whatever, and I watched a yellow jacket land on her bun,
Oh man.
but I wasn't really paying attention, so it landed, and then like we were singing or something.
Yeah.
And then it crawled into her shirt, and I noticed, and I was like, "Hey, like there's a bee." And then by the time she noticed, the
was-
wasp freaked out,
Yeah. 'Cause
and
it was
I
stuck.
stung
then.
her 16 times or something.
Oh jeez.
It was a wasp. She started going.
Yeah, they don't
and
die
She
when-
was like, ah.
Yeah, that's the worst.
What are you supposed to do?
Oh my
That's
gosh.
awful. Oh.
Yeah, man.
I saw there's this guy on YouTube. I don't know his name, but he does this just with all these different venomous things. He like brings them to his arm and
He
lets
lets
him
them
sting
sting.
him. You know what I'm talking
Oh,
about?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
he did that with the
yeah.
murder hornet, and he was like on the ground rolling around, dude. It was. And then it like
What's-
it buffed up to like this huge mound. I was like, whoa, it's crazy
How did,
looking.
how did he rate it on the scale? Like
He said it was worse than anything else.
No
Oh,
way.
man.
Yeah,
Man.
he kept saying this one. I don't remember what it was, but it was the previous like
Yeah.
worst thing. And
Yeah,
he was
there's like
like,
an
it's
ant.
so much worse.
There's like an ant. It's like a big ant or
jeez.
something, right? And it like just bites and
Red ants.
red ants. No, there's like a big ant. It like jumps.
What? Oh, I don't know about this.
Yeah. You know what? I'll tell you what, man. I bet right now as we talk about murder hornets, people in Australia are laughing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Crack it
for
open,
sure.
crack it open a Foster's and going
Yep.
like
Murder hornets.
murder hornets. Meanwhile, like a giant, like 35
Spider
foot
is on their roof.
spider is like yeah, it's like spitting acid and like
They're like
a
under
group.
an umbrella with the acid falling on them, and they're like,
Yep.
"Oh, it's a normal day in Australia."
Yep, black widows everywhere, brown recluses, and they're just like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Australia's crazy. What's up with that?
I don't know. I've never been there. I really want to go.
I've been to New Zealand. New Zealand is like so Australia and New Zealand have endemic species,
Okay.
but New Zealand's endemic species, as far as I can tell, are like the kiwi, dude.
Yeah,
that
they're
thing
so
got mutilated
cute.
by cats
Oh man.
when they brought when all the
They're the little bird.
yeah they're
Right.
like they're like the ball shaped birds with like
they
long
look like
beaks.
kiwi
Oh yeah.
fruits.
Right. Because they didn't have any
Natural
cats at the
predators?
time.
And
That's
so,
how they,
yeah.
they survived.
The Europeans came in and
Until the
unleashed the
cats
house
came.
cats.
Yeah.
There's a dude in New Zealand who called for all house cats to be killed,
Oh my goodness.
and it was like a huge controversy. And he was like, "But they're just killing everything, every
That's
bird."
what they do.
yeah.
Yeah, and so it was like a big deal, I guess, in New Zealand. But it's funny that when you go to New Zealand, it's like very peaceful and very chill. And the kiwi is very silly and just like it's a silly.
Although all
little thing.
this news is coming out that they're getting all authoritarian now.
Well, yeah, because
It's like crazy.
it's not a lot of people who live there.
No.
I think the total population of New Zealand is only like 4 million or maybe 8 million or something.
Hmm.
Yeah, so like everybody knows everybody. It's like, I guess it's not literally, but much more than here. But you compare New Zealand's animals to Australia's animals, and it's like Australia is like
Australia is like
the final
4
level.
or 5 times the size though, or maybe even more. I don't even know.
it's
the,
massive.
The
I think
actual
Australia's like as big
percentage.
as the U.S.
Yeah.
It's huge.
but it's
Interior's
mostly like
huge.
desert in the middle and stuff.
Yeah.
Nobody lives
But you
there.
got crazy critters on that place, man. Giant weird creatures that
kangaroos.
it's
They're cute.
one of the final levels. You know
What, living out in the
like
in the bush?
you easy.
Yeah.
It's hard mode.
Hey, I'm good. I watched Crocodile Dundee.
Yeah, you got this. It'll be fine. Just take a really big knife.
I really loved that movie though. Actually, as a kid,
Crocodile
That's
Dundee.
a great
Love
one.
that movie.
Yeah.
Didn't isn't that guy who did that movie like the only thing he's ever done?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he
Possibly.
did the
Name
second
Barry
one
Hogan.
and the third one,
Yeah.
and
That's not a knife.
I never saw the third one.
He gave us.
Thanks
He
for
gave us
checking out
that
I saw the
clip
second
from
one.
the
That's
Timcast
Those are good
IRL
movies.
podcast. We do the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. If you want to catch the full show, tune in to this channel, subscribe, hit the like button, or check us out on iTunes and Spotify. And we will soon have this podcast up for free on all podcast platforms. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all in the next episode.